I've added what I think is a really nice update to my 2009 BMW 128i. The taillights are actually kind of cool looking. They've got these 3 bars that go across. They light up, they look like LEDs, and they're a little bit modern. But there is a better look, in my opinion. There's a LCI, I honestly don't know what it stands for, but there's a newer generation taillight that has this frosted swoop style in it. And I was able to swap my taillights to the newer model. I picked these up, it was actually kind of a pain. I picked these up and they claim to be European spec. And the only difference there is they're actually smoked, so they're a little bit darker, which I think looks good against the silver. So I swapped in these European spec LCI or post LCI tail lights that I think look really good on the car. Big swoop style part is always running. That's kind of like your running light, and when you get on the brakes you get 2 sections that light up. Now BMW has this really interesting thing. It's one thing to see somebody ahead of you with their brakes on, but if somebody slams on their brakes, that's also an important piece of information, and sometimes that happens after you've already been on the brakes a little bit. And so BMW helps signify that by illuminating a third section, so there's an additional taillight for heavy braking, and this of course has that too. So you've got the swoop that is your running light, you've got the outer 2 lights that are your standard taillights, and then you have the inboard light that is your sudden stop taillight. I believe that inboard light is also used as a rear fog light, but you have to swap out the switch panel to have a rear fog light button. Mine does not have that. I think you can just buy the switch and plug it in and you're good, but it's $140 and I've got other priorities right now. But I really like the tail lights. It took a little to get the fitment just like I wanted to, but when I got it, of course they fit like OEM because they are OEM. The difficulty was the insulation, the padding back there that keeps the bulb area airtight was really matted down on the old one, and the new ones are fresh and they're thick. So you actually had to draw in the taillight quite a bit with the screws to get it just right. And I shimmed it a little bit. I took care of that. So in order to install this with factory finish, I put this in as this little plastic pry tool as a spacer or a shim, just to align it initially, because I want everything to line up perfectly. The back of the taillight has 3 screws, one here, one that's hard to see up here, one that's like right here. And I just work on it little by little to try to pull, the new gaskets are so thick, just try to pull them to where they're flush. So maybe not the full extent, but just where they really like flush up with the body lines. I think I got it pretty good. And then once you've done that, you're done with that shim. But the holes that those screws go through are square. So it, you can have a little bit of adjustment to get everything exactly perfect. And so I just find it best to shim to start that. Otherwise it'll kind of totally settle down. When you go to do this, I recommend trying to remove this centerpiece. That gives you access to pulling this. On this side with this luggage divider or whatever, it's less flexible. So to get that kind of flex, it helps to have this removed. That has 2 screws down here, 2 pop plastic rivets here, and then the top, it just fits under the seal. It's got some guide pins in here, unless I broke them. They were kind of a struggle to get off just because this seal has a lot of strength. But yeah, that's all there is to it. And let's check it out. But the result is, I think, a really nice upgrade for the car. It claimed that I needed to code the taillights, but all systems seem to function. I don't get any warnings, so I think everything's fine. It was a real pain to get these lights. I ordered them as a scratch and dent from ECS Tuning, and the picture showed just a small little crack on one of the taillights. But honestly, I don't think they packaged it very well. They were just thrown in a box with like, one piece of protective coating over it, or protective, plastic, and a little bit of bubble wrap, and it damaged that other tail light to the point where it cracked all the way across and even popped the plastic off, so you couldn't even it wasn't even airtight anymore. A real mess. So that was a shame. I contacted ECS. They didn't do anything to make it right. You win some and you lose some. And so I was like, hey, here's what I want. I want to purchase, because it was basically half price. I was like, hey, if you'll split up one of your sets, I'll buy one of the taillights at full price, and then I'm good. But they weren't having it. I guess they didn't consider that warranting any work on their part. So, oh well, life moves on. I found a place in Germany or some European supplier that sold a single taillight, and it was actually pretty affordable. It was about the same price that I paid for the pair scratch and dent for one brand new, and it was packaged really well. It came in quickly from Europe. It came in a box where the cardboard was partitioned, and there were sections of opening in the cardboard that was stuffed with more bubble wrap to make sure that it was really secure in there. So they did a really good job shipping it to me. And so I was able to install them, and I was really happy with it. But I got to think twice before going back to ECS tuning after that experience. But, that's life. And now I've got a pair of taillights I'm really happy with and a really good updated look.